Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm great.
We,
Absolutely great.
we are so excited to have you today with us at ISOT. And we are a group of young women-led organization called ISOT, International School of Trends. So by qualification, we are architects, also college friends from our old days. And we have come together to form this institute where we are imparting education in the fields of interior design and fashion as well.
Mhm.
And whenever we talk about interior design, you are, of course, the first person in our country that comes to our mind with your legacy of so many years of practice and now the president for so long. So we cannot contain the excitement and we cannot tell you how excited we are to have you. And so many students across the country are listening to you, and there is so much that we want to know from you in your field of career and your journey as an interior designer, and how you build this entire the paraphernalia that you have created and the success that you have achieved. So I leave it to you, sir, and we start by hearing about your journey from your student days of taking up design to reaching the threshold that you have now reached.
Uh, this has been a long journey through a lot of phases. It has gone through, as obviously nothing comes to you as straight as it looks. Uh, I was a rebellion to start with. My father was an architect, so he was first generation. And as usual, that everybody feels that his son should take over in days to come. And my journey actually was it as everybody gets disoriented, so was I, and I wanted to join advertising more than getting into architecture or interior design per se. uh, but the books around us, the atmosphere that we had in the house, and the, my father's practice, and I was looking at him, and all that was also molding something inside me as a creative person. But in those days, if you remember, there used to be competition success review magazines that we used to get, and as everyone did, I also used to get those magazines and see what career one should get in, though creative career was something that I always wanted to opt for. And I came through an ad by a mechanical engineer who got his job into advertising field. He made a slogan for blood donation,
Okay.
and that actually got hooked me into advertising. And those were the times when I started thinking about getting into advertising. The slogan was so simple. It said, "Blood is meant for circulation. Please donate."
Oh, wow.
And I got wrong tail, like goosebumps on my hands, and I said, "Wow!"
I still
And
remember those lines, so definitely
yes,
did an impact. Like it must
amazing.
be like about 30 years back or something, if I'm not
More
wrong.
than that. 30 years is my practice. So it was
30,
more than 30, 35 years
and you
before
still
this.
remember. Great.
And I said, I don't want to do anything else. This is so creative. This is, and it sells. Then I started exploring this field of advertising, and I got hold of a book by David Ogilvy on advertising. If
Okay.
you may know David Ogilvy, Ogilvy Matters is a huge advertising company from US. They had Ford's account for advertising, and I got a book also by David Ogilvy on advertising.
Okay.
And that going through this book, I saw an advertisement made by David Ogilvy for a cigarette brand, a lighter cigarette brand, Abdullah.
Okay.
And I remember those words again. A simple, very simple line which increased the sale of Abdullah cigarettes by 5% within 3 months, which
Wow.
was huge. And you could see these kind of things, like it was written on a glass, cigarette smoking is prohibited. And then there was only one line added on the glass, was not even Abdullah, which meant volumes. Like, because it was a lighter brand, not even Abdullah. And it gave themselves a 5% extra. I
Wow.
said, I'm going for advertising. I don't know. And I can be a copywriter. I can be a visualizer.
Okay.
And I started my journey towards that. And I also got admission to St. Xavier's College, Bombay on advertising and
Awesome.
marketing diploma. And my father was like, he never stopped me doing anything, but he asked me several times, don't you want to do something which is okay? You don't want to do architecture. Why don't you get in? I said, "It's so creative this world is. I was supposed to make a poster for cigarette smoking is injurious to health.
Okay.
And I just draw a person smoking a cigarette and I smoke you, and then the cigarette sex, this person becomes thin and completely loses his health.
Okay.
It says, I smoked you. And
Oh.
based on that, I got admission to this course, and I never thought I would be admitted because that father asked me, how did you apply? I
Mhm.
said, why? He said, it is meant only for graduates. I said, it doesn't say anywhere in your what you call the syllabus or the brochure that you gave me. It's nowhere written that only graduates should apply. He said, but from Nasik, how will you come? I said, sir, I'll stay in your hostel. He said, this hostel is not meant for this course. I said, that also is not written anywhere. So he said, okay, I don't know how did you apply, but well, you've done well in your entrance test. I forgot about it. I never went back to see whether I was on the merit because I saw people coming from Lintas. I saw people sponsored by advertising companies coming for this course. For the interview, when I met these people, I said, not my job. Bombay, VT, such a amazing campus of St. Xavier's College in Fort. One of those days, my father sent me to Bombay for some work of, and I happened to go to. I said, let me check if I was on the merit list. To my greatest shock, that was the last day to pay fees for the course, and I was third on the merit list.
Awesome.
And I said, now I have no money. How can I pay? This lady had some connection with Nasik, and she said, I'll allow you 2 more days. I do come to Nasik for this St. Mary's Church in St. Xavier's School, which is the only church of a child, Jesus. I said, okay, let me go back and ask my father. And I was so overjoyed. And that's where the whole thing started about
Awesome.
talk, father talking to son, wanting to do whatever, and
Yeah.
then doing an interior design. And I was sent to Pune by the time to go and check for this course. And I started doing interior design, having left that understanding wisdom of my father.
Okay.
Because those were the days that if you stay in this course for 6 months, you are employed. It was that much in demand. And I still have that advertising or copywriting within me,
Okay.
which helps me. That creativity, that that book for creativity is on me always. Like, and for interior design also, it was fortunate. I said, I go, I meet the faculty, and only if I'm impressed, I'll join. My
Okay.
father said, you are nobody, boss. Whom are you going to get impressed with? On what basis? Who are you? So I went and met my HOD here, and he said, "What thrills you?" I said, "Creativity." I said, "Innovativeness and the uniqueness that is something that thrills me." So he said, "Then it is there in this line also." He drew a line and said, "You can't draw this line again." I said, "How?" He said, "No, the same characters will never come." And that's where it clicked me. I said, yes, I want to do something which I nothing gets repeated. I want to be unique. I want to approach
Oh.
design, and I want to start doing things. And this progressive architectures which used to come to my father had subscribed. And also we used to get popular science in those days. Popular science used to have a feature by a Bonds movie, And all those tricks and interiors and everything that Bond used to do, it was scientifically explained in those magazines. And progressive architecture, they all had got, somewhere in my back of my mind, and those and that's why I was always inclined towards simplicity. That's where I got carried away with those lines, which were as simple as not even Abdullah, as simple as blood is meant for circulation. And that's my, I realized that it's my way of looking at things. And then my father's ideal was architect Richard Neutra, and who was contemporary of FLW. His works that he had, he was a fan, and those have always been impressions. And the works of my father, what he did, the kind of architecture he did. But I've always wanted faster solutions, faster projects to get over. So architecture was not my cup of tea, where projects go on beyond 1 year. And now no more maybe, but in those days, 4 years, 5 years architecture project. Let me do interior design.
Okay.
And unfortunately, in those days, interior design education was not so very much beyond a diploma. Uh,
Okay.
and I told myself, and my father told me, Pratap, since you have chosen this beyond, above architecture, please keep in mind that throughout your life, you are going to be learning. So architect never becomes a qualified. He becomes qualified by education, but as
Yeah.
a professional, you are never qualified. You keep learning
Why we
every
call
day.
it a practice. We don't
Yeah,
call it
absolutely.
because we are just practicing for our life.
Absolutely. It's a college of practice. And you keep on learning every day. You keep on
Yeah.
learning from students. You keep on learning for your daughters,
Yeah.
whoever. Like, so interiors is a smaller space that we deal with, but I believe I got hooked onto it. We are fortunate to have a fantastic faculty, and they dedicated their time to us. And my education, more than that, this impressed me with that line thing, was our HOD. And he had also, it was a beginning of his practice. So what he used to do is post college hours, he's called me, let's have tea at Vaishali or Rupali. So Vaishali, Rupali were two restaurants in Pune which are like big time known. If you've not been there, you've not been to Pune kinds.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
uh, so 4 cups, 5 cups of tea would go on. He would talk to me about Ruskin Bond, the book, his book, and he used to talk to me about design, design philosophy, design thinking, and that was so. If the curriculum did not give me so much, but this my sessions with him gave me so much to understand.
Yes.
And when you want to learn and when you're inclined to learn, we were taken on one of the site visits where I was very critical with a little knowledge that we had about colors. And I wrote in my uh, report on site visit saying that I don't think the black color went off very well because black gives this, that, blah, blah. So he called me and he said, Pratap, never criticize anything in life because everybody does that to the best of his ability. So the person who had designed this was our faculty. I'm telling you these stories because these things imbibed certain things into my life, which made
Actually
the
does.
guideline.
Yeah.
So walking back from the site, we had this discussion, and he kept on insisting it was Winston Churchill, and I kept on saying it was Lee Iacocca. So while going back on the road, you see those booksellers. They sit with the old books and magazines selling them. I hardly had money, but there was an old Reader's Digest which had an excerpt of Lee Iacocca's autobiography, and that same caricature was there on that. So I picked it up. I paid him 2 rupees, went back to college, and I handed over this to him. I said, "See, sir, this is Lee Iacocca, and that caricature and this is the same." And I said, just because Lee Iacocca was Henry Ford's general manager, Ford companies, and those your clients are car sellers, so that's another reason why. So he said, "Do you read?" I said, "Yes, I used to read, but now in hostel." And he started suggesting me books, and which he does even now after 32 years, 35
Wow.
years.
That's so awesome.
He'll keep on coming and asking me, "Have you read this? Have you read that?" Uh, then he'll come and give me a book. Now you should read this. Now you should read that. So he made me read Masters. He let me read Bauhaus. Made me read a book which is Bible, not available. I bought that book just because he's prescribed Survival Through Design by Richard Neutra. This
Okay.
is not available. If you even search now, maybe now it has come down to 4,000, but that time I got it at 17,000 rupees. And I
Wow.
bought it from Amazon.
Wow.
And in 1956, you will not believe Richard Neutra spoke about urbanization and how it is spoiling the greenery around and how architecture. And we have anything in all these years. We
So
still keep
reading
on.
played a very important part in your journey.
Yes. So reading was something which was amazing.
I
And
think that is like really missing in today's generation. It is more of a they're more of a visual generation. They don't go into things like you said
abs-
that in the James Bond movie you saw the science behind it and everything. I think nowadays that is like missing because we just see the picture, we like it, we see the
I'll
colors
give
and everything, but we
I'll
don't.
give that credit to my father. Every day he used to come and ask me a very simple question. What is what is the news today?
Oh, okay.
What is the news today? And you will not believe I had to read the newspaper to be able to answer his question in the evening when he was to come back. So
Okay.
it was not a fear that he'll ask me, so I have to read. It got me interested because I respected my father and I was answerable to whatever he says. And that, so these are simple things. That's how you get into reading. And that's how this professor I met got me into reading. There has been some intervention. I believe I kept on meeting good people in life.
When we look at somebody like you having a journey with strong education and so much that you've read, and today we have to accept the fact that the commercial space is seeing a lot of designers who are not qualified maybe with the degrees, not even as well read or read, but the stardom has made them achieve project, especially in the interior design space. So do you also see it around you, and what do you feel about it?
Uh, Interior design profession right now needs education for sure, and a serious education. And I, by being on IIID platform for 5 years, being a president from 14 to 19, we worked on interior design education so largely because I had gone through whatever I did and how I know I've got my knowledge and experience through a very painstaking efforts throughout my career. So I thought this needs education. This needs serious education, and we worked onto it. And we had 65 colleges in collaboration now who impart 4 years of curriculum in interior design, and no more it's a hobby diploma. So I would not propose or promote or support or even indicate that anybody who's not qualified should get into profession, because it plays with your health, it plays with your with you as a person who occupies the space. So education is a must. Formal education, nothing can, because that's where you see debacle happening now. You see, we have lost the understanding of better design because of
Correct.
what is surrounding us. Nobody is appreciating the nature the one they one should. My my ideal of good design is good nature. I always tell students, if you go uphill, why do you go to Himalayas? You go somewhere up the hill. When you see, look at the landscape, any Tom, Dick and Harry, his obvious reaction is wow. Nobody says the plant should have been greener here, or they should have been red, or the pink looks ugly. We don't give such reactions. But to every building on the road, everybody has a difference of opinion. Why?
True, true.
So you should have a universal design uh, thinking. Like one should be able to relate to the nature and try to come close to that, and see that every design that you do makes a owner or any person who enters that house give an obvious reaction as wow. That should be the design. And that's why formal education is a must to be able to understand basic principles of design. basic design. People don't understand and appreciate design as well, and that's why they don't read good books, they don't listen to good music, they don't carry themselves well. My father told me, Pratap, I am an architect, and I don't sell luxury, I am selling needs. So it is a to have a house or to have a building, office building is a necessity, and there is an architect's law which supports me to practice, so people will come to me no matter what. But you are an interior designer. At that point on time, 35 years back, interior design was a luxury. People who had money only spent, but today it's not. Today it has also become a necessity to employ an interior designer to get their places done, to get your houses done. So that time my father told me, be conscious how you carry yourself, build up your vocabulary, build up yourself as a person, build up how you communicate with people. Your personality has to impress him first. Only then he'll be ready to spend 40, 50 lakh rupees on the drawing that you present to him. Now the presentation skills and everything has improvised. But when I started practice, we used to carry those tracings in our hand, butter paper tracings. And that is something that I believe now, because of the technology, things have changed. But seriousness, as you rightly mentioned, students are not having that depth about themselves. So I tell every student, love thyself. Look into the mirror every day and ask yourself whether you are looking nice. If anybody would criticize you, so don't give that chance, neither in your behavior, nor in your approach, not neither in your presentation. How you present yourself is more important, and that builds a confidence in the person in front of you.
As designers, we face criticism, and we regularly do. For our projects, from our clients, from peers, from people who use the space, who don't use the space, who just pass by the space. So, are you saying that you have been fortunate to somehow bypass criticism in your works? And if you did get criticism, how do you deal with it?
See, you get criticism many a times. But you should take it in your stride. You should say that this is a stepping stone. This is a point of time where that you have to learn, and you learn from those criticism, or you understand that this criticism means nothing to me at point on time, whether a person like कौवे की शाप से कोई नहीं मरता है. So
Correct.
it's up to you to understand, but you have to be true to yourself. You don't always say this. Many a times you realize, oh yes, it was my mistake, and I accept that my mistake and say, no, I think we've gone wrong here. Let us redo this. One has to be absolutely open, but in a very commanding way, not submitting yourselves to your mistake. You have to do it in a very commanding way, because the moment client knows you don't know things, he'll not pay you. So you have to have that knowledge, you have to have that experience. So, but criticism, I think I take it as a stepping stone to go ahead only. I am never, ever I felt bad for anybody criticizing my work. But and very rarely it has happened. Fortunately, touch wood, till date.
Great, sir. Great.
That is, I think, that is one of the greatest assets as a designer that one can ever achieve. That
If
it has
you
only come
keep
seldom.
simple, and if you keep things simple, there is nothing somebody would say. I would narrate a story of a project that we did. I started my practice. My first client we did, and he came back to me after 20 years, and he said, "Now I have bought an apartment in a very elitist locality where only that community people were there." And he said, "I want to get the house done by you." And we started doing the work, everything, and for him and for his younger brother. You will not believe, I left the project without taking a single penny at a stage where only soft furnishings were left. He was trying to use me because he was paying me my charges. And I upfront told him, I said, I have a lot of respect for you, sir, but I don't seem you have that, because he asked me to go to a store where I had given him designs on sofas and other things, and he said ki we like, after having spent 3 days in Mumbai and then in Pune, and then fourth day he tells me that I have liked a sofa in another shop. Can you please send somebody with a camera, click it and get it done from your sofa? I said, I'm extremely sorry. That's not my cup of tea. And we had finalized the sofa. They had paid an advance to somebody. Then I gave him a very bad example which he didn't like. I said, शादी होने के बाद में बहुत सी लड़कियां अच्छी लगती है, पर हम लोग सबसे शादी नहीं कर सकते. You'll have to make your
True.
mind somewhere. You can't make me run like this. I can't do this for you. I'm not cut out. So he got offended. And his elder brother called me and he said, how did you say this? I said, hello, you've not bought me. You bought my services and I'm done with you. I said, I don't want to work for another single minute on this project. And I'm not stepping into your house again. He said, I won't pay you. I said, I never asked for my payment. To you, your house. All the best. And I left it. You can't take things, you have to have that, you have to stand tall as a designer, as a person, as a human being.
Yeah.
And that happens only when you are confident, when you know what you are, when you work with principles, when you work with values. And that those values were imbibed in me because of my parents and because of my school and because of my college. You cannot go wrong on those, and you should not, if students are listening to me, or if they ever, do not ever compromise on your values and your principles. Never ever. भूखा मरो. But इस पे, and वो नौबत नहीं आती है. If you stay like this, that those days will never come.
This is such a big learning, and this is such a big huge statement, so encouraging, that you have spoken to us about. And if we didn't know that you are heading the organization called IIID, we would know by your conversation that this great designer, a person with values, is and deserves to be the president of IIID in all ways possible. And how standing there, sir, has because you are already running a practice and your hands are so full, and then this organization with so many cities and so many chapters, how do you do it?
I'm done with it now. In 19 September 2019, I get charged, so I'm done with it. I'm back to my practice, and again, it's always a beginning for everything you start, and then the first project.
But you have left a legacy that. Hmm. You have left a legacy that all of us still know you as the president, because I think the impact that you have had on the organization and the kind of chapters that kept building under your leadership, I think, I don't know, sir, how you have done it, but we'd like to hear.
Oh, there's only one feeling. When you work for a voluntary organization, one is you are giving your invaluable time from your practice,
Yeah.
where you're not getting anything back. So might as well do something which is memorable for the organization and then leave. So you leave some legacy. You leave something for people to remember. Oh, yes, he did something. Despite, like, you leave your practice also, compromise here on your time on your practice, which is your bread and butter and earning, and then you do go there and you don't do anything. That doesn't get into me. You have to work. Then the interior design profession needs so much work to be done even now. Another 20 years we need leadership like that to be able to go, and where the profession will start getting respect in the minds of the parents who send their words. Okay, 4 years curriculum in interior design is worth it, go do it. And there has to be licensing to practice interior design in India.
Exactly. There has to
That
be.
has to come, and we've worked towards it. We've really worked hard towards it, because I had no answers to give to government if I go there. How many numbers you have? When I took charge as a president, we were 2,500. When I gave charge, 8,500, 9,000 members. How many student members you have? 400. When I gave charge, we had 8,000 student members. What have you done for education? We've started a curriculum, 4 years of curriculum, and now 60 colleges are doing it. Okay, what is the inclusive policy that you have for those people who are less qualified than your? We had an interior design symposium in Jaipur, and we came out with a charter on interior design education, or a profession, which 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 actually defines the minimum qualification of an interior design, which is 10 plus 2 plus 4 plus 2. And with that charter, how do you get other people to join you We have continuation of education program. Who will impart knowledge of the curriculum that you've done? We have faculty training workshops going on. So there was a holistic approach towards building up a profession of interior design. But this is like still at the nascent stage, and we need more better leadership to take it ahead with a view of completing it, taking it to a finale, and getting this licenses to practice interior design in India. We had come to a stage to come out with a category of membership which will say self-imposed license interior design, like, I'm qualified as per the charter of interior design. So building peer pressure on government, like this is exactly what Philippines did. So they started calling licensed designer by practice, and that created a pressure, and government succumbed to that, and they invited them, and now there is a regulation, and now in Philippines you require I speaker, where you earn credits through by attending these lectures. So my lecture gave them 1.2 credits. So I think we need to build this. We need to build this system where everybody will grow. Okay, I have done 1 year's curriculum. That doesn't mean you cannot practice, because government will not allow us to, even talk to them. So how does he get into that? So he'll have to 10 plus 2 plus 4 plus 2. So if you have 1 years of practice, you have to work somewhere with in a structured program. That structured program is also ready. So if somebody comes to me with 2 years of qualification, I will have a 6 year structured program with me to be able to give him. We have to think seriously, and we have to approach this seriously. Lot to do, lot to.
So many chapters of triple ID, and I'm sure you would have made your visits to different cities. And is there any dynamic chapter, or
Many.
is there something that you remember from any chapter?
I would see. It's like having 4 kids. All are your kids, and they all are same, because they were born in a different condition, in a different atmosphere, in a different state of your life, and with a different geography. Things change from chapter to chapter, so the energy levels also differ from chapter to chapter. But what we imbibed in 5 years, 100% chapters were absolutely active. My Rajkot, Indore, Nagpur initiated so well. Then we had Hyderabad, which is like Pune, Baroda, Ahmedabad. I cannot name anybody. They are all doing fantastic. They have their own, with their membership numbers, with their past chairman. So the building of the family, how it does. So I think everybody would grow up as a very, very healthy chapters of I.
Don't you feel, sir, you've done it all, or do you feel that there is so much more to do and explore? And after having achieved almost everything,
I see, as a designer, one is never content. But my part uh, with IID is over, because it should never be person centric. An organization should never be person centric. We have laid systems. We've groomed leaders, future leaders, who can come and who will impart, and who will execute and do work, and they will add essence, being designers. They'll add their values to this, and it will grow further. But as an individual, I think as a person, I am done with IIID. But there is a lot to do at level of students. I i i have been giving lectures online. I have been conducting classes online. I have been conducting what I felt was not there, and what is a must, like we are having virtual site visit with the students, where I go on my site, I explain them everything, what's joinery, what are the tools, how do you join them, what is important, what should not be done, which is more important than what should be done. So
Yes.
all these things, I keep on engaging students. I keep on talking to people, like you invited, and I was like more than happy to come and share, because this is what my experience is, and the more I share, the more people would know what they are supposed to do.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
I have also designed a curriculum, which is bridging the gap between education and profession. So it's a 3 months curriculum, which because of the pandemic it's there. But I want to build this society of designers this better experience.
So that is what ISOT is doing. So our mission is bridging gap between what is happening in the industry and what is happening in the classroom. Even the teachers whom we hire, they all are working professionals. We don't hire any full-time teacher who are just teaching, because then they don't know what is happening in the industry.
Absolutely,
They
absolutely.
just
There are
know
so
what is
many other
happening in
things.
the area.
The drawing as a language doesn't get built ever,
Exactly. Yes,
and
yes,
that
yes.
is something which I feel should be. So getting that one portfolio done, which speaks volumes about the entire thing. Like you open it and you don't go on site. That level
Yes,
drawings one should make. And then there
yes.
is this book by Julia Cameron on Artist's Way.
Okay.
If you are into education, do this course of 12 weeks by Julia Cameron. The book is available on Amazon and
Uh-huh.
it's amazing. It is like Bhagavad Gita. What you it makes you understand what you are, so who you are. And as for innovativeness and for creativity, it's an amazing. In the last lockdown I did this 12 weeks course. Every week you read one chapter and do the task as they are ordered to. So
Okay,
do
great.
amazing. It's
We
self-building.
make our students do.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, even we you should do as a,
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
even we should do. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then I am now ready to conduct that as a curriculum with the students because I did it twice.
Wow.
Maybe we can plan something. I mean, because you saw
We would also like to learn from you.
It's amazing. It
We are
gives you such a wonderful mirror of your own personality and what
looking
you
forward
are,
to, and
and how much creative and how much innovativeness is there within you. So if you keep do this with open mind and diligently, if you approach every task that is given, I think the life changes. Absolutely changes.
true.
Morning pages she makes you write has changed my life to so much after this 5 years of IIID and then coming back to my own work and my family, and then the lockdown and then not moving. I used to travel 20 days in a month during those days, and then immediately shifting and getting into house and not going out anywhere, neither traveling, not meeting people. The biggest thing that I miss is meeting people one to one, which I love.
you enjoy talking so much. Like right now, your face is like lit, your eyes is like sparkling. Like you love like
No, that I miss so much, but this Julia Cameron engaged me for 12 weeks. So 3 months just went like that. And she made me write. I am not a person who would write anything, but I made a poem. I wrote a poem on
So can
pandemic.
you please recite the poem we would like to hear?
Oh my God. It was on pandemic, not a very happy poem, but it was
Okay.
about the situation that we were in those days. Uh, I wrote few words. I named it Pan Damn It.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the sirens sound, the numbers count, the positives and negatives, the cases and fatalities. There is a fear around. February it was China, March it is your own town. Now in the neighborhood, the fear is all around. Till yesterday it was here, there. Now it's in the family around.
Oh my God.
It is the game of C, cough, cold, corona, COVID, containment. Who, WHO, is who playing the game? Our innocence are of numbers, of cure, of vaccine, of test, all fabricated. The virus too. Let's play the game of bold. See. Let's play the game of bold C. Care, confinement, caution, and compassion and cure.
Awesome, sir. Awesome, sir. Really, really,
This
really.
was when
wow,
I was
that's
writing my
really fun.
morning pages, and I heard the ambulance sound, and it used
Yeah,
to
it's
give
actually
you
disturbing.
anxiety.
Yes,
It
yes.
was so bad, and that's where I got these words together. And this must be the first time in my life that I got these words together, which gelled and made
Yes.
this. Oh,
So you sound so attached to triple ID. And when you're speaking about triple ID, you're like, ye karna, ye karna, ye karna, ye karna, So what was the reason, like, after 5 years you departed and all, and would you like to take
see,
the
you
seat
were at the
again?
helm of affairs for 5 years, which nobody has in all these years of the history of III. Normally, the president's tenure is 2 years.
Okay.
There were some issues that I got a little late, so I got my first term was 3 years. And the amount of work that we did as a team was
Mm.
phenomenal. And everyone in the team said that you have to continue because there is nobody who is as experienced as you who will
Okay.
take this ahead. I was reluctant to do it. I said no because I strongly believe that an organization should be not ever be person centric. It should be system oriented.
Okay.
And then but they kept on insisting that I should. So I had a very difficult, what you call. I said only if the elections are unopposed, then only I'll take charge as a president again. Never in the history in 42 years IIID ever had elections unopposed. Our entire team got elected unopposed,
Wow.
and I had no choice but
Wow.
to accept presidentship in a second tenure. So having done 2 years, it takes a hell lot of your time, and you, as I said, because you're
Yes.
doing it, you have to do it seriously, sincerely, dedicatedly, and diligently also to leave back the legacy. And beyond that, one should not stay in an organization like that for a long time. I can always be available to share my experiences. I should always be there to share people around, but you cannot keep on doing these things endlessly. But there is so much as a creative person you need to do in your own practice, which I was missing.
True.
I was missing for so long, to be able to be completing a project and enjoying that fun, that momentary fun of the own creativity, and which I did. The first project ever we did after the presidency was over even got published.
Wow.
So then it gives you confidence. This after all these years, yes, you are there as a designer back. Ultimately, you are a designer. You are not a politician. So you have to go back to your practice and do some creation there which will help society. You've let down foundation for an organization to build, which will always build the profession. But here now, as a designer, your responsibility is to build a society. So start doing that with your own designs. It's always good to leave things at, you should leave when people want you to continue. You should not leave when people would wait for you to say ab ye kab chodega. Your intensity doesn't remain all the same, your energy levels don't remain all the same. Then
Mhm.
there are other factors in an organization, which are looking at opportunity. There are people who are invested time, they have to grow, they have to come up, they have to do, they have to contribute. Because if with my leadership it would go only one way, other leaders will come and build different ways, will take them ahead in a different possibilities. So more avenues will open, more, the picture will be better beyond me. So I always feel that my predecessors should do my successor should do better than me. Only then there is a growth for the organization. I'm happy. I'm absolutely happy because I'm enjoying my family time, which I compromise so much. 20 days outside. When my daughter became architect, I never realized she did her masters and she's teaching at SEPT. But I was never a part of their upbringing. My younger one just graduated from Baroda interior design undergrad, and she's back with me. But I said, how? Oh my God, you're done already. It all happened in my absence. So you are accountable, or you are responsible for your family also. So you have to get back. And IID's work, I'm confident it will continue. And whenever they require, I'm available. But one can be a catalyst now.
So you look forward to your daughters joining your practice soon, or one
Younger one
has
has
joined
joined.
already?
Younger one has already joined, but she won't work for too long with me because I would want her to work abroad and gain better knowledge and come with a better experience. The office is always going to be theirs. The elder one, because she did her masters in interior architecture from SEP, she got inclined more towards research and she got inclined more towards academics. She worked with me for a year, but she's joined SEPT again as and she is wanting to pursue PhD. So she's more inclined on.
That's brilliant.
They must be carrying your passion and energy.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Yes.
as a designer, is there any dream project when you talk so passionately about design and you keep on wanting to
Dream
invent
project.
and create? And is there something that you like? I want to do that.
I don't know as of now, because every project, I don't do too much of a work at one time. We hardly have 5 to 6 projects at one time on board, and maybe 4 sites are going on, 2 projects new on board. We put in so much of time into it. Yes, being designer, you would want to do better and better every time, and I want to be known someday. My only thing is that I have to be known as minimalist someday. I still nowhere I'm close to that, but uh, how minimal one can be in practice. So in their approach is what.
Your work is actually minimal.
No, so actually, we were already discussing about this when we were so inspired by some of the projects that you have done and the photographs, whatever was available online, of course. That the first word that can come to a designer's,
We were like, it's very simple.
yeah.
It's
So the
minimal.
first word that comes to a designer's mind is minimalist. Absolutely. I mean, it goes without even you speaking about it, without you even mentioning. If you just put in your work, and people who understand the design language will call it minimalist.
Yes.
And also it goes on to tell us that how simple the spaces can be and how functional and aesthetically pleasing. So, to our generation and more so to the generation younger to us, it gives a strong message that when we look at so much clutter and so honestly we get very very influenced with the pictures abroad and the jazz and so much of layering after layering on things, especially in interior design. The wall will also not be a one tone and there'll be so many layerings and then the objects. And when we look at your work, it kind of brings back to our roots, what we had studied in our design schools. And how it works.
Right. Actually, I strongly feel the chaos that we see around in the society is because of bad design. The moment we start bringing in that simplicity in our spaces, workspace, where we stay, places around us, automatically this chaos will go down. Whatever is happening is so. We as designers should take responsibility of what is happening around us, and we should try to change that through our designs. And that is what I feel, that sensitivity has to come, and for that we need to build a culture, and that can be built in school at 7th standard level. From there we should start building personalities, and that will build a society. So reading habits, listening habits, what kind of a music people are listening to today? It's chaotic. So what will they build? Chaos. So how do we imbibe these values into them? And that is what you as a school should take up. We as designers should take up. Organizations should take up. Feel that it is our responsibility. We should bring in that change. So that's how we should build a society, and that's where I feel my job is larger now than just building up a profession. Through our design, through our awareness, through our expertise, through our experience, we should be able to build a better society, and that will build a better life for our citizens. Simple road work is going downstairs, absolutely cement concrete road, which was absent, not there. I have been after this contractor with authorities कि हमको टेंडर डॉक्यूमेंट दिखाओ, टेंडर में क्या क्या लिखा है, मतलब प्यार से, कोई जोर नहीं, कोई जबरदस्ती नहीं. As a layman, I would like to understand how are you doing it. Then trying to get the other society people together. बस आपको ये रास्ता होने के बाद में कोई तकलीफ नहीं होने वाली है. आपका स्टॉर्म वाटर कहाँ जाएगा, बाजू वाले का स्टॉर्म वाटर कहाँ जाएगा, उसका स्टॉर्म वाटर कहाँ जाएगा. अभी ये कॉर्पोरेशन ने तो प्लान नहीं किया, हम सब लोग सोचते हैं कि कॉर्पोरेशन की जिम्मेदारी है, फिर एक बार रास्ता हो जाएगा, बारिश के टाइम पे तोड़ेंगे कि हमारा स्टॉर्म वाटर यहाँ जमा हो रहा है, इलेक्ट्रिकल की लाइन, गैस की लाइन, इंटरनेट वाली अभी फाइबर ऑप्टिक की लाइन. तो as designer, I have this insight. I can think in about future. Why not put this into the minds of every plot building owner around and see to it that work happens forever, and then this road will never have to be dug up for anything, for any future services, and then understand the specifications and see to it that contractor delivers. So these are our responsibilities. लाइट पोल्स कहाँ लग रहे हैं, क्यों लग रहे हैं, कैसे लग रहे हैं. तो एज अ डिजाइनर वन वुड अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट शुड बी द लोकेशन, वेयर इट शुड गो. आई थिंक आई एम डोंट बी एन एक्टिविस्ट, then you will again start becoming an activist, but be a facilitator, be a catalyst. अपना काम करके निकल जाओ. That will add value. That is what every designer should. अपना आजू बाजू का एरिया भी अगर ठीक से किया ना, मैंने तभी तय कर लिया था कि मेरा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का काम खत्म होने के बाद में आई विल सी टू इट दैट सराउंडिंग वेयर आई स्टे, एटलीस्ट माई सराउंडिंग लुक्स बेटर, my society looks better. Then beyond society we should my society. I said we are enough, we are on 200 apartments, so we are done everything nicely inside. Why don't we look beyond this? We should spend some money to get better things done outside our society, for their livelihood, for their health, hygiene. Try to imbibe that hygiene values in people around you. So lot to do, there's lot to so there's no contentment. I will have another role to play. Society demands, it's my responsibility. I don't do it as obligation to others. No, I feel it is, if I have been given this uh, that I can talk better, then I should speak. If I should communicate, I can communicate better. It's God's gift that has been given to me, so I should communicate more. So I don't deny any invitation to talk to people, because I can communicate better. If I can think better, then my thinking should help society to be better. Otherwise, I'm not doing justice to the qualities that have been given to me by God's grace or my upbringing. My parents will never forgive me, even if they are not here, no more there, that I did not do my part of the as a role of being a designer who can think, who can bring in change. So we have to bring in that change as designers.
So your upbringing is very solid. I
So
think
mesmerizing.
that all these things
Uh,
are coming because of the upbringing you had. Because of
Yes,
which it's like imbibed in you that it's my duty, it's like my responsibility.
I don't tell everyone that I have done this, I have done this. No, I got opportunity, I had to do this. Might as well, boy. Every I did this when I used to go for a walk at 5 o'clock in the morning. मैं सबको बोलता था मैं 5 बजे सुबह उठ के चलने जाता हूँ. एक दिन जब मैं चलने गया तो 5 लोग और थे. मैंने कहा वो नहीं है, तुम कौन हो भाई? Never pat yourself for anything that you do. It is your responsibility. Do it because it's your responsibility. Then you will do it better. And whatever qualities one has, whatever, then you have to use those qualities for betterment of society. You have been given those qualities. You have been bestowed those, like given by God because of that. Maybe by your parents also. To bring that change, first in family, then in society, then outside in your. So your circle should keep on increasing.
So it's so mesmerizing to hear you speak that I think that we would just keep listening to you and get these words of these words of wisdom. Of course, it comes with experience, but it also comes from a life well spent. Being a designer, I mean, even if you are in advertising, ultimately you do see yourself as a designer.
Absolutely. Creativity is the essence of everything.
So you are somewhere connected to that field. Creative, and since you write so well.
I don't write. I can speak well. I don't write well at all. My writing is horrible. This just only happened because of the morning pages that Julia Cameron made me write, and I wrote them for 1.5 years. I've just stopped because there is repetitiveness in that. Every morning, get up and she says, you write whatever is there in mind. So get out all the rubbish and throw it on the paper without thinking what you're writing. And it clears your mind. I have taken tough decisions. As you rightly asked, how did you detach yourself from IIID? You will not believe it was a difficult task. It was a huge task, but thanks to Julia Cameron, there was a person in my office like who worked with me for 20 years and was doing wrong things, and I had to chuck him out. It was a difficult thing, but I everything without disturbing anything else. That's Julia Cameron. I used to write my task down. What am I supposed to do today? And I wrote several times in a day to detach myself and focus on my practice. That allowed me to do it so easily. So that morning pages writing, write 3 pages, A5 size 3 pages every day. Don't decide what you're going to write. Just take a pen and paper. It will clear your mind of everything in life, and you would be clear thinker.
So if you were to give a little more time to probably teaching and ethics, and I think such a large student community will benefit. Of course, you are doing your virtual classes and everything by contributing to their lives. But I think, if we also had teachers like you, and even if you give that, little time of the day to continuous to the grooming of the students, you not only get insight into the practical aspect of practice, but you become so passionate about your practice that that becomes your driving force. Something like being able to walk off from a project at a young age. Trust me, sir, we probably do not have that kind of courage. Only in the fear of the competition, sometimes not knowing when the next project will come, and things that we all face in this profession. But you had that courage in your initial days, and the way that you have groomed yourself till here, I think.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, first initial days of my practice, I got a project where every penny that I earned, I needed that. Because my father, another man of principles, I got out from the school, I went home to Nasik. I basically belong to Nasik, where he practiced. And he allowed me to enjoy for 5 days. And fifth day morning, early morning, he gets up and asks me, फर्स्ट पर्सन सिंग्युलर आप करके बात करना चालू किया इन मराठी आई डोंट नो इफ पीपल वुड अंडरस्टँड आपण काय करायचं ठरवलंय व्हॉट हॅव यू डिसाइडेड टू डू इन लाईफ आय सेड आय सर्टनली वुड लाईक टू प्रॅक्टिस ही सेड देन गेट अप and come with me to my office. If you don't want to work with me, I have kept an office space for you here. Open it right now, clean it, and start sitting there. And if you don't want to practice in Nasik, I would be happy if you catch an afternoon bus to Pune and go there, because I would like you to be known more, not as my son, but I would like to be known as your father. So that will happen only if you go to Pune. And Nasik doesn't certainly have interior design practice. At least in those days, it was not as having potential. But and if you are like going to decide to go to Pune, this is the last 500 rupees that I give you. And I came to Pune with that 500 rupees. Not believe that afternoon, which I never knew in the morning. When I got up, that I'll be leaving for Pune by afternoon bus. I had my lunch and left for Pune. Both of us were proud of one another for having built this. And so every penny was needed. We made one drawing for a hospital, and only drawing was required. And I presented to the client, and he gave me 1500 rupees. In those days, 1500 rupees was huge. So I told my then friend, who is now my wife, I said, Lena, we've got this money so easily, so it will just go away somewhere. I had never thought of saving anything. So we went to a bookstore and bought books 1500 rupees worth.
Oh my god.
And we exhausted our money. But those books are still there in the library, which gave us so much of knowledge. So I think these things you have to live very consciously, very consciously. Every step you take. I never committed mistakes in life consciously. If I felt something is wrong, stop doing it. Because people will, like, I was going to be chairman of Pune chapter. So I had no money, but I bought all licensed softwares in my office. I said, IID's name should not go down because their chairman is using pirated version. I bought 5 licenses. Can you believe? So you have to live.
That's huge.
You lead by example always. But I'm fighting against those AutoCAD guys also. Yeah, I have told them, boss, you are selling an AutoCAD to a person. Daily your monthly expense on a licensed software is 10,000 rupees. Tell me which designer does that? And our government is allowing this monopoly. So, and somebody has to stop this. So you have to fight for. Now there is there ZW CAD is there, another CAD licenses are there. But why promote somebody to do something wrong? I had told them we got agreement with them where they sold licenses for 25,000 rupees. 5 licenses of 25,000 rupees. LT versions. LT to LT. आज लाओ at least licenses वापरना चालू करो. So you principally you should be absolutely clear always.
So that is very important. Yeah, but because this license point that you brought up, it kind of becomes a hurdle in lot of the ways of the young designers who want to start off their practice, who have very little to. They are so talented, but unfortunately, it becomes like a roadblock. So, apart from other expenses, they have to pay for something which they are the ones who will use and promote. So, it is what it is. But of course, we are with you. And if you feel that, as individuals, we can contribute in any such, change making that you are bringing about, and we see you as a revolutionary in the design field, it will be an honor. And we can assure maximum young designer participation where we learn and also give back to society, which we should, and not wait for a day where we might be known or be successful. Of course, it matters, but some may get it, some may not get it. But we would also like to contribute, and we would also like to hand hold of each other and build a community which is so strong that we do not face these intruders now and then. And even as architects and being licensed and having studied for 7 years with master's education, we do see draftsmen taking away projects, and this is the reality that we are facing on ground. So someday, if people like us don't, then who will?
True. No, there's a lot to be done. As I told you, as a designer,
I sincerely hope that we can together,
Yes. Wherever it is required, anything because of my experience, I am there with you on this. And we should build a better society of designers, and that will build a better society, livable society outside where we'll be proud of the change that we have brought in to the society. And that's the reason why the space is livable, the comforts that one has in the society. So we owe that to our society. So conscious designers, I think, that we should build. The fraternity should be absolutely sensitive, and empathy. We should build in empathy. You should feel for others.
So you moved to Pune at a very young age. If you were given a choice, would you select any other city in the world, or would have settled anywhere else today? If you were given a choice, hypothetically.
Given a choice, I would have gone to Scandinavia. My first ever visit outside India was Scandinavian countries. First ever visit in 2005. And I said, oh my God, this is the place to be in. It's a mother of design. It's the mother of design. The way they deal with the way the designs are made. And nowhere, even Germany countryside, if you go, nowhere, nobody makes a mark. It's only urban city centers have iconic structures and buildings. But if you go countryside, even in Germany, Europe is some place where one would. And in India, if you ask me where would you want to retire, is Goa. Absolutely
yeah. Yeah. Great, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And the insights has been tremendous, and I cannot even wait to share with you very soon how many students will benefit from the conversation that we got to witness. I think we are very, very fortunate that we could interact one-on-one with you and listen to your stories. And I would not stop here, but very soon would you would receive an email from us for a part 2, because I think that we totally deserve to learn so much from you, sir. That I mean, I am in forever debt and gratitude. I just wrote the word that I have to go back as soon as I finish Cameroon, and I have to start it.
Even I've noted few things in my phone which you said, and because even we are like imparting education, so we are molding the future, right? It's a very, very sensitive thing.
Build the future of student with values.
Exactly.
Even if you are not able to teach them everything, teach them what is good design, what are good values, and imbibe these values into them. Make them better individuals as persons who will think about nation, who will think about their own country, who will think about values in our country, who will think about their own culture, and who will respect every other culture also, and look at things in a different perspective altogether. So try to build a wonderful society. I'll always be there with you to guide you, help you, work with you. And
Yes, so
because
we will be needing your help. So because as a we also got leadership lessons from you today.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And we are very going soon.
I'll message you. There are a lot of books that build
Yes, sir.
you as person. So
we are actually going to make a note of books which you mentioned in this talk, and we are going to mention in the comment section that
Yes.
everyone should be reading these books, which is like suggested by sir.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's something which builds you as a person. Like
Yes. Yeah, it's like really needed.
So we are looking forward to the part 2, sir, very, very soon, because it doesn't feel enough to listen to you and to be guided by you. And I can't tell you how humble you have been with us as newbies or nobodies, but somebody like you have given your time and so much insight, and forever we have the gratitude in our hearts for you, sir. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Look forward to.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. It was wonderful.
My pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye.